Buddy Way, Midland, Texas. This video today, I'm going to focus on a question I get asked often is why haven't you caught anybody on camera? And you know, on my side, that's frustrating because I have proof of a capital attempted murder, irrefutable, undeniable evidence. Nobody can doubt that. Somebody come to my home with a gun, and they shot me. And not only did that, they cut my phone lines and shot me with the special ammunition. Absolute, undeniable proof. Absolute proof that police stole evidence. Absolute proof. I also have proof that x-rays were faked. Undeniable proof. Incredible crimes have happened here. I have proof that multiple people have said there's an underground facility and tunnels here. That's incredible in itself. You know, but one of the things that has gone on and happened here is the non-stop crimes, the repeated felony burglaries, theft of services that goes along with that, the break-ins to my home. And that's really where it started. Back in 2010, I transferred here in 2008. Previous homeowner died. In 2010 was when I first recognized that somebody had been in my home. And that first call wasn't because they were in my attic. I'd recognize somebody was in the main area of my house. And so they don't always go in the attic. I mean, as soon as I'm gone, they have my whole house, okay? And so and that kind of started it, and I made videos on how I figured out they were breaking in the house, etc. And of course, then you know I got shot. There's a burglar got trapped here, and all that whole story. But one thing that once I figured out there's in the attic, one of the first things I did was actually install cameras. Okay, and I thought they were coming in the normal way, through a door, through a window, and so that's where, you know, I mean, it took a long time to figure it out that they're coming from the floor. This home was rigged. There's a lot of money involved in that, and of course, multiple people are saying there's $1 million underground facility here. And so I put cameras around my house, and you know, and I know there was a time where I put one camera, watch another camera, watch another camera, watch another camera, I circled my whole home, and they wasn't going to get past this ring, you know, but they kept breaking in the home. I couldn't stop them. Couldn't figure out how they're getting in, where they're getting in at, not thinking they're coming up from the ground, okay, and sure not thinking they're hacking the cameras, and so all that was a long process, and you know, and because I've showed before tricks to figure out if a door's been opened or closed. You know, put a rock in the doorknob, or the door stops, or you know, different ways. Put an acorn in front of the door one day. I knew my door's being open, so I knew they were coming in my home. You know, I mean, there was living evidence that they were coming in my home, and so. But my cameras wasn't catching them, so I knew they were bypassing my cameras. Now, keep in mind, you know, I'm a tech guy. I'm an IT guy, 25-year IT guy, and I'm trying to figure out how they're doing it, how they're bypassing these cameras. You know, these third-party security systems. You know, and what happened is I went down to Sam's, okay, Walmart, Sam's, and I bought a Samsung 4-channel DVR, okay, and that's the top one right here, and actually I ended up with two of them. I bought the first one, I had it on the outside, then I bought a second one, and then I put them cameras in my attic, but they're bypassing them. You know, I mean, I could hear them move around, etc. And what you hear when I make these videos and the burglar alarm's going off, they're like a standalone motion detector, you know, that you get at Home Depot, and if you get out in 15 foot in front of it, all of a sudden, you know, it alarms for 20 seconds. And then it goes off, and they're portable, battery operated, and you can move them where you want. So like you point them at a door, and the door opens, it goes off. Okay, you know, that's how they work. And so you can get a Lowe's too, has them. And so they're not networked, and you know, so they're not hackable, or basically, you know, they're not something you come in with. They're not with a computer in it. But anyways, so I'm trying to figure out how they're getting in these, in you know, how to get the systems hacked, and this unit doesn't have a wireless connection. I mean, it doesn't say it does. It don't come with it. You don't buy it. It don't tell you that. And so it had a wired Ethernet, and I disconnected it, but they're still bypassing, somehow they're bypassing the camera system, you know. And I think even by the time I shot and my investigation trying to figure out how they're getting it, because I was suspecting that that there was a hidden wireless connection, because I found out what they are is really they were like mobile motherboards for mobile devices, and so the whole thing about a mobile motherboard for like a laptop and a mini laptop is that it's wireless. Okay, so there's a wireless and there's a wireless chip on there, and I think they have a way to enable that chip, and then they go in there with there was a hidden configuration menu. I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute, that I found out about. It was an advanced configuration menu, secret, that you get in there. I think they use that to configure their wireless. It's also possible to do it in a remote, and because they're local, okay. And I'll show you that on the remote. But basically, what's happening is they're freezing the camera. That's a function of the camera system itself, and it's on the remote control. You can freeze a camera, and what that means is one of these camera feeds, like this has 4 feeds. Okay, you can freeze it. Okay, so you take this one right here and you freeze it. Okay, well, nothing's changing in there, okay? So somebody could walk in front and it doesn't get recorded to the DVR. So it don't look like anybody has been on the camera. The motion detection doesn't catch it, and it doesn't get written to the DVR. And that's what the freeze function does. The software allows you, the admin software that you can download, if you have the network access, allows you to get in there and remotely do that, okay? And I'm gonna later here, and I think I'll hit it right now, is I found out a clue on the Samsung system of when they remote control in it. One thing I did in IT, and if you work at a big company, you probably know this. I'm the IT guy. People call me, they have a problem, whatever it is, a word, their computer not working, whatever. They call me on the phone, and I can remote into their computer. Sitting at my computer, I remote control into their computer, right? I run their mouse, I run their keyboard, I get their hard drive, whatever. I can copy files, move files, delete stuff, stop stuff, run their programs. It's like I'm sitting at their keyboard, okay? I remote in. Once again, keep in mind, this is a computer, okay? That's what it is, it's a computer. And so I can tell when they remote in. And basically how I can tell is when the hackers, okay, who are the same people that break in my home, okay, remote in, is a banner bar pops up on the screen, okay, a menu bar, okay. That normally only happens if you move the mouse, okay, and there's a timeout in the settings that is the banner bar timeout setting, which says if you move the mouse, then it stays on the screen for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever, before it goes away, okay. Well, I'm sitting over there in bed on my computer, whatever, and I look up, boom, banner bar pops up, okay, and for a minute or whatever, boom, it drops out, okay. What's happening is they're remoting into it, okay, so that then they can see my whole system, just like I was at work, okay. That's what they're doing. They have remote access. This thing's not connected to the network. They have wireless access to it. So they've enabled the wireless on this Samsung unit, and they have their network set up where they can get into it. Then they have the admin software allows them to freeze their camera, okay, and that way they can move around. Like I say, right here, if they froze this camera, they'd come in my front door and I wouldn't see them. I'm going to show you an example of that in a minute, because that's what they're doing. And I wanted to be clear about that, because what's important is this unit, millions of them have been sold, okay? So there's no telling how many times this hack's been used to commit rapes, murders, robberies, etc., okay? And how many crime victims have, like me, have been called crazy, etc., okay, to cover up them other crimes, because that's what's gone on here. And you're going to see that happened in court, and I get it all the time on, why haven't you caught anybody on camera? It's because they're hacking the cameras. And I'm going to show you absolute proof of it. I mean, absolute proof. I bought multiple systems. I bought a second system. This is a Swan system. Right now, the Swan system's up my attic, okay? And thinking, well, okay, get away from the Samsung, okay? Boom, it's hacked right off the bat. I don't know how they do that, okay? And I can't tell you how they got it hacked. All I know is they do. They're bypassing it. And I know that because you can hear them. They're moving around, sometimes super, super loud. I've recorded them, The ex-wife tried to extort money from me. She was here, a witness to all that. She admitted to that on tape. Friends have been here with burglar alarms going off, or hear them. Besides me, right? I'm shot with burglar alarms going off. But anyway, so This unit's hacked, and this is Swan's unit. I don't even look at it. I could flip it over there, and you would see my attic. I'd have to do it with my remote, and see them cameras up there. I don't even look at it because it's basically worthless to me because they've got the thing hacked. Okay, and you know, and when I say I hear them, I mean I know exactly where they're at. You know, sometimes it's like they are right there. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's a soft noise. You know, and that, oh well, maybe that's a house creaking. And sometimes it's where they fall down or they drop their gun or whatever they drop. You know, I mean there is no doubt. You know, I have millions of stories about this. Been going on forever. Heard them fart, cough, giggle, snore, etc. Okay. And so, how are they getting up there? Okay, I wanted to hit that real quick. Well, one of the first things I did is secure the doors, okay, to the attic, okay. And at first I thought, oh, they're locked in there. I was not even thinking they had another access in there, you know. Well, then I'm thinking, well, maybe they're coming in the trap door on the top, right? They're getting on top of my roof and they're got a trap door and they're coming in. I had the roof inspected twice. Had Charles Perry, they're the ones that put my roof on, come over. No, they're not coming in the roof. And since then, it's snowed several times. My whole roof's covered in snow. And then you're absolutely sure that they're not coming in the roof because if they did, they'd leave a trail, you know, because there's snow on it. Okay, so we know they're not coming in the roof, and we know they're not coming in from the two doors because I've now rebuilt them and bolted them shut. They're not, and you know, there's not even a lock where you pick on them. They're bolted shut. And so and that only leaves one thing. They're coming up a wall. And you can't come up a normal wall because there's only so much space. Okay, so they're coming up a wall that has enough space. And so find the wall, you find the tunnel. All the many times people go, oh, you need to dig, you need to ground survey and all that. No, don't need to do any of that. As long, just like I told my lawyer, as long as they're breaking into my house, I can find out where they're getting in from. And how? You find the wall, you find the tunnel. And I've gone probably 90% of this house and drilled holes in the walls and measured the depth. You know, stuck a little rod in there and measured the depth of that wall. Okay, all the way to the brick on the other side. And there's 2 or 3 places and that's it. I mean, that's it. And that's where they come into this home from. Okay, but I have waited. And why have you waited? Because I need the support of law enforcement. Okay, I do not want to try to apprehend armed and dangerous criminals when law enforcement's not on my side. Okay, and you know we have to have this is much bigger than this one home. People all over the country are reporting people in their attic. Okay, they literally stopped free press in America so they can murder one homeowner after another. Even though I have absolute undeniable proof of a murder attempt, nothing's going on. It's incredible what's happening. Absolute proof that they falsified x-rays. Okay, that is huge. Just think of the ramifications of that and how many people that's happened to. Hacking these camera systems, huge. That is gigantic. Okay, and multiple people saying there's $1 million underground facility, huge story. Okay, these are big stuff. So it's a lot bigger than just a couple burglars breaking in Buddy's house. Okay, and I've already been shot by surprise. And that was covered up by police that come in and stole the evidence I told them about. And so I've waited, and what I do is I document it, I make videos, I put it on there, and try to generate enough public pressure, okay? Because I've known all along, one news story showing the evidence, and there'd be so much pressure on the chief of police and the mayor that they'd have to act. They would have no choice, but they would have to expose the underground facility, the tunnels that are here, the crimes against me, and they'd have to make arrests. They'd have to. But right now, they've been hiding it from the public. That's what they've been doing, and so that's where I'm going with social media, trying to get the word out there. And so, and I've got a few videos that I'm going to show you here, and I'm going to move this over to the camera. Or over to the computer to show you the proof, because I'm going to show you absolute proof. Hold on. The banner bar. Remember I told you about the banner bar. Here's the mouse, okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the mouse. Move the right mouse. There it is. It popped up on the screen. That's the banner bar. Okay, so it works perfect. Like you move the mouse, it popped up just like I said. It's got a timeout. But remember, I'm sitting on my bed back there, and when I see that banner bar pops up, that tells me they remote controlled into that unit right there. And then when they do that, then they have access with their software, because they have wireless access, then they can freeze the camera feed. So they can freeze the front camera, and they come in my front door, okay? Or the cat can come eat the food. Okay, I just want to show you that. and I'm holding my camera, and I know that's kind of aggravating for some of you because it's not the best video, but it allows me to zoom in on stuff, when I want to or whatever, and that's why I do that. I like to zoom in, but I've done this before. I drew up an outline for me to kind of go over how does the hack work. I didn't talk about that, but I will talk about that, and I did talk about a clue to when they're remoted in. And so, but I forgot to show you that on the banner bar. I'll have to do that in a minute. So anyways, how they're hacking the cameras on basically, I kept calling Samsung over and over and over again. And here, I'm going to show you here. This is from the nurse's notes. Right after I'm shot, it's 12:09. I crawled out at 10:42. Okay, and here the nurse wrote, patient stated, I've called Samsung because there are things happening and the cameras aren't getting it. I know the cameras are broken because it doesn't pick them up when they are in my house. Okay, and I have a video that's going to prove that to you. Okay, but basically I was calling Samsung over and over and over, and about the 10th time I get a hold of Raphael, okay, right here with Samsung, and I tell Raphael, I say, listen, if I fill a glass full of water and that glass empty, put the camera on it, and the glass empties, but nobody drinks the water, how do you explain that? And he's like, well, that couldn't happen unless they had local access. And I said, they do have local access. They shot me. And then he seemed like he felt guilty, okay, because I told him, hey, they're bypassing my cameras, and he finally admitted, well, that could only happen if they had local access. And I'm going, they do have local access. And so then Raphael sends me an email, okay, this is this date on February 7th, 2013. There's the email address, and here basically. This is an email to myself describing it. And it contained this PDF file, okay, on the DVR settings. But basically what it told you was how to get into a secret config menu. I mentioned that earlier. And how you did that was you pressed freeze alarm, freeze menu, enter from the remote control. That was nowhere at the time. That was nowhere on the internet. Okay, I'd search. I think that is the hidden configuration menu they used to set up this hidden network I'm just telling you about. I think they somehow enabled that onboard Wi-Fi connection, and then they set up that network in this menu. That's what I believe. I couldn't get into it. I tried to use this keystroke combination, and maybe they changed it or whatever, locked me out, but I could never get into it. But basically, I got it confirmed that of how they're doing it. They had rigged this unit. So these are some high tech, real smart hackers, which are also the same people that tried to kill me. And so that's major news. Like I mentioned that earlier, that there's many of these sold. Okay, and I want to show you the remote that you push. Okay, here's the remote control. It's Samsung My Remote. And on the bottom, you're going to see there's a freeze button. And remember, a part of that secret key code was freeze alarm, freeze menu, enter. And, that's kind of like a game code cheat or whatever. That's what it sounds like to me. And nobody would ever know that hidden configuration menu was there, unless you just happen to know. And I'm sure that was probably something they only tell their techs or whatever. But somehow these criminals got a hold of it, and then they use it to break into homes and steal from and murder people. Okay, and so now it needs to be public. This needs to be public. Okay, and of course now this is an older unit because the crimes have just been allowed, to go on forever for the longest time. Okay, I also installed a Vivint alarm system in my attic. Okay, and that's that's a Vivint security company, and and my other alarms would go off, but my Vivint just sat there stupid, you know, and it was like they were bypassing the Vivint system. I kept calling Vivint, saying, hey, it ain't working. So they're coming back over it 2 different times, and I finally was going, you know, I called them with the burglar alarms going off here and said, do you hear that? Your system's sitting there stupid. And so they sent the text, oh, we found a programming error. And the next day it calls the police out to my home, okay? And so the police come into my home here on December 19th, 2012. That's the year that I'm ambushed and shot, okay? And this is the police report that you can see who the police officer were. One of them was Chad Simpson, and he was the cop that murdered his wife, remember? And we believe he's the one inside my home wearing the Midland K9 police jacket. And you can see that Steve Bracken makes this rude remark, no, child, it is him, and he thinks there are people in the walls, okay? And I'm sure he probably thought that's funny. They refused to go up in my attic and look, okay? And so I've got a third-party company that I'm paying to monitor my house, Vivint, okay? Vivint is, and the Vivint recognizes that somebody's in my attic. Vivint calls the police, and this is what happens to me is my character gets defamed, etc. Don't forget that, you know, April Chandler's lie has followed me around, right? That was the lie that she made up, even though I was cleared by mental health, and that was a day and a half after she was in my home still in evidence, okay? So 2 different times the Vivint system goes off, dispatches the police, there's a police number, and then I get this letter where I'm going to be fined, okay, for false alarms, is what they said, and that's it, false alarms. And so I had to turn off my system that I was still paying for, you know, because it was a call, I was going to get fined, and so and each time the police refused to go up in my attic and look, okay, so the Vivint system was one more system that went off. Every system I ever put in goes off. Motion lights, whatever. This right here is an inspection camera. It has that like a snake on it, okay? It's called an endoscope, okay? And when I got out of the hospital, I drilled a hole in my ceiling. I was still on crutches, and I'd stick that up there through the ceiling, and that camera is the one that I saw a young Hispanic guy on. Very clear, but I didn't get the record going in time before he was out of view. You know, it caught me off guard, and it's like, and you know, here you're moving a snake around, you know, and so it's got to be, you know, pointed the right direction, you know, 3 or 4 foot away from you up in the attic. But absolutely, it's not a what if, could be. Like I said, I saw a person up there, 100%. And this is the camera that I was using. And so, if you go to my YouTube channel, I did a search for burglar alarm. Buddy Wes, my YouTube channel. You're going to find pages and pages and pages of burglar alarms, okay, that have gone off through the years. Because, I mean, this was going on back since 2010, 2011. But I didn't start making these videos until later after, you know, I was ambushed and shot and all that. But just pages. I've been in the bathtub and they go off, you know. People have been in my house and they go off, you know. And I'm going to show you some videos here in a minute. There's actually 2 of them that I have. This is one, April 1st, and this ain't an April 1st joke. That was a burglar alarm went off my home. You can go to my Facebook and watch it. It's also on my YouTube. And you can hear the burglar alarm. And what it is a motion detector up there. And I'm going to show you a video because the motion detectors, as I said earlier, they're not networked. And you get in front of them, they go off. And that's really what I'm filming. And I'm going to use that to on these two videos. The first one here is a camera, is a cat food, and basically what's happening there, the cat food bowl's out in front of my house, and a camera is on it. It's next to my front door, and you see the cat food bowl empty, but you don't see any cat eating the food. That's the same scenario I said with the water, right? And so basically they had that camera frozen, right? And you can do that with the remote or do it with software. And so while the camera was frozen, the cat ate the food. That's what happened during the night. But what it also, they didn't freeze the camera because of the cat. They did it because they were coming in and out the front door. And that's what I was saying. I was noticing they were coming in and out my doors, but wasn't getting caught on camera. So that's one video. And the second video is that Swan system in my attic. And basically what it's going to show you is I have multiple cameras up there pointing at one of the motion detectors, okay? So one day, and these motion detector has lights and audio, so I can hear it from down here when it goes off, but in the ceiling it's flashing a light, so the cameras can see it. And one day you'll see one camera feed shows it flashing, but 3 of them are watching it. And then another day, same one goes off, all 3 cameras show it flashing. That tells you that 2 camera feeds were frozen, okay? That's why it wasn't flashing on them other 2 feeds, okay? And that's what's going on. That's why they move around and you can hear them drop their gun and all that stuff and not be seen on camera, is because they've got the cameras frozen. So I'm gonna show you them 2 videos. Let's step outside real quick and I'm gonna show you the cat bowl. This is where the cats, I feed the cats every day, and the wild cats. So I'm going outside, and we're going to turn this around here where you can see if we can get it in the view of the camera, see the cat bowl. Okay, y'all can see it down there, right? And maybe you can't. Let's go here. Okay, there it is. There's the cat bowl. All right, and the camera you see it up there on my house. That's the one that watches this cat bowl down here. And anyway, there's a reason I'm showing you where I feed the wild cats. And then every morning I get up and I look at the camera and see, who came in to get food. Anyway, I'll show them on the camera over here what we filmed. Okay, I'm back, and at 6:39 I was just outside filming. And y'all have seen that. What I'm going to do is go to the same camera right here. You can see there's the cat ball I was talking about. Okay. And notice the time, 6:40. Okay, 6:39. And we're going to see me when I come outside. What's this? Okay. Notice how much cat food is in the bowl right here. That's the important thing. And I'm out there. Okay, here's the cat food canister. As I said on camera a minute ago, that I feed the wild cats, and then every morning I look and I see what cat come up and snuck up in the middle of the night and ate the food or whatever, and just something I've been doing lately. And so, anyways, 6:35. Boom! Did you see that? Okay, I wanted to do this again. We're at 2:53. Look how much cat food is in the bowl. Okay, and then we're going 2:53, 39, 40, 41, 42. Boom! Cat food's gone. Did you see a cat come up and eat that? I didn't either. Of course, there's a blank space in time from 2:53 to 6:35, and basically somewhere where this camera was not recording, a cat obviously came, ate the cat food. I'm going to show you one more time. I'm going to back this up. And this is what I've been saying. There it is. See it? What I've been saying is things are happening on this camera that are not being caught. I've said that before. And I can tell they're literally being hacked. They're being turned off. Burglar alarm going off in my home. It's June 24th, 2016 at 12:39. I can see it on camera number 4. I don't see it on camera number 3 though. It should be showing up on camera number 3. That was a burglar alarm that we seen yesterday. I recorded yesterday. And that's what I was talking about. Sometimes they don't show up on them other camera feeds. That's because these criminals are hacking these cameras or compromising them, and that's how they bypass it. And that has been used to commit these crimes against me, which includes the capital attempted murder. And so I want to make that real clear. I was shot while burglar alarms going off. You just seen that burglar alarm there, and it should have been in 3 different camera views, and it was only in 1. It's July 21st, 2016, about 3:57, burglar alarm going off. We can see it on camera number 3, number 4, and number 6. That's where it should be. That's a real alarm, folks. This is just one of literally thousands. I've been documenting these for a long time. It's people in the attic.